On today's episode of the Bubs and T Bag Show, the boys learn that Old Mill and math can go together.
That's like number one with a bullet in terms of like piece of ass women that you could be walking around with.
Oprah would be a close second.
I got to say Taylor Swift is still probably number one, but you know, you're entitled to your opinion on the show. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't silence anyone.
Thank you for having
So
letting me have my
if
voice.
Oprah's your number one,
Two.
number two, yeah, I think that's for you and that's between you and Jesus.
Amen.
T-Bag puts things in focus.
Then he answers a couple texts from Taylor. She sends him a couple of nudes. That's how he starts his day.
Bubs knows what time it is.
You look at Oprah from 1985 and look at Oprah now. How?
All this and the high score coming up.
All right. Yay.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony T Bag.
Ooh, fabulous.
Wow.
Yeah.
You came in light.
It's a light on the loafers today, buddy, and
You sashayed in.
took a nice dump earlier. So
Did you? You're light?
Feeling about 15, 16 pounds lighter. Yeah.
Are you Metamucilin?
That and coupled with a little bit of energy. I've been having good luck with Triscuits lately.
What about your Jägermeister concoction?
Well, we might have to talk about that. I've hit a little bit of a snag in that recently.
Did you black out and
Pretty close.
did you blow Chunks?
Yep, I did.
Chunks is your neighbor's dog. Oh,
You know, the last time I did that, probably about, I don't even know, 20 years ago, maybe.
really?
Yeah.
So the Jägermeister snuck up on you?
Yep. 2 days ago I did.
Holy shit.
Yep.
Damn.
Had to have a friend drive me home, the whole deal.
Wow, you became handicapped.
I'm not, I guess, what they say is in moderation, and with that stuff, they're not messing around, man. You can't really, maybe 1 or 2 after dinner, I think is where it lies.
What did you do?
Nothing. They snuck up on me.
Well, I
you know?
mean, was
Yeah,
it six?
I was
or-
playing pinball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was playing pinball. I was playing booty chaser with some of my friends up here in the scene.
Did you tilt?
Well,
lot
that'll
of
be
hip
an
thrust?
interesting story, but I do currently have the high score, number 1 as well as I believe number 3 on the Rush pinball machine at Moonshine Bar up here. There are people that do go out of their way to look for pinball machines up here. They do have a really quality version.
So you have a high score right now.
Right now, I believe it still stands. As of 2 days ago,
Was
last
that
time.
the same night where things happened?
Yep. It was like 4:00 in the afternoon.
So a fine line.
Yeah, there's a line that can't be crossed, and I found that line.
So I used to have that line when I would go bowling.
Okay. Remember
So
I texted you a couple days ago though, and said, "Hey, I'm going to have the new show out later tonight," and then
Yeah.
you didn't hear from me for about 36 hours.
Yeah.
That was why.
Well, I know what's going on. I know
Right.
you have a lifestyle.
We live hard up here.
You live hard and fast. And did
Hard.
somebody put you away? Make sure you got it in your house.
Yeah, I was fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
Did you?
no, it wasn't like that bad. I
Got
got
bad shellfish?
I had a little bit sick. Not bad. Just a little.
So you
bit.
had some oysters, and they weren't in season.
I hadn't eaten.
I remember driving a '79 Ford Granada one time, and had way too many shots of Ruppelmans and Jägermeister at the 400 bar on Washington Avenue.
and Cedar.
Yeah, and Cedar Avenue, I guess.
Yeah. Well, pretty close to Washington.
We went and saw a band, and I think I finished the night off with a Three Wise Men,
Ooh.
and that was unwise. And then
That's like the Cuervo, the Walker, and something else, right?
I don't know, Johnny Walker, Cuervo, and maybe Jack Daniels,
Something like
something
that.
stupid.
Yeah,
You know, when you're 21, you're
things
stupid.
that you should never mix.
No, maybe I was 23, but I had a
Three wise men.
2-door 79 Granada, baby blue with a white rag top and curb feelers. And the doors on it were 19 feet long, and the hood was 21 feet long. It was beautiful.
Well, I'm glad that you didn't break any laws or hurt anyone that night, you irresponsible piece of trash.
Well, the war pony got me home,
Good.
but I had to stop,
Yeah.
and somewhere in the city of Minneapolis, I vomited violently, probably like a scream vomit, and then got her home.
Yeah.
I think somebody else actually took over and drove.
Like I said, I don't know the last time it happened to me.
Yeah.
But probably like 15 years ago or
It
something
happens.
like that.
It'll get you.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta just. I don't know. It's happened to me, and I'm 53, but it hasn't happened lately.
I'm not giving up on Jägermeister though. I'm just going to be a lot more responsible around it.
Well, what's the difference?
Kind of like,
if you drank the same amount of Jameson, you would have had the same effect.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I was very used to drinking Jameson for the last several years.
But everything being the same, food consumption 0, pinball hero.
Yeah.
Right? You're a pinball hero.
Yep. I did have the high score, so some drinks kind of came around at that point.
And then, so it wouldn't have mattered.
Plus,
if you chose,
there's an occasional autograph seeker.
Well, you're a local hero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it true you have a podcast? Yes, it is. And
is it true that you just got the high score?
45 minutes, telling them how to locate it on their phone because not usually the most tech savvy.
That's okay. Bring them up.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Salt of the earth,
That's right. Did you sign some autographs?
No, I've had, well, we have a couple, but like, they're gags. I mean, they're not.
We force them upon people.
Yeah, we're not really.
Here, take this. We have a podcast.
I
signed it.
We're not really famous.
No. Infamous.
Nobody knows who we are, and we don't put videos out there or take pictures and show ourselves or sell fucking sports drinks or
I don't think we would.
Whatever those other people do. No. I think we're doing this for selfish reasons.
I mean,
and,
like
if you want to listen in, you can go right ahead.
When we get big, like the hip hop artists and all this, they sell like tequila or they sell vodka. We're going to sell a brand of cocaine.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would totally do that. I'd push for it.
Yeah. It's maybe cut a little more so it's a mellower Coke. You're not going to be super motivated, but you won't be lazy.
I think you'd have to name what you do is you just tell people this total bullshit thing like, hey, this is a strain of cocaine that's really, really extra popular. We call this one the Bubs and T Bag strain, or something like that.
It'll just mellow you out.
Yeah, and it really works great. And in reality, it's nothing but just, something off a brick that came up north and crossed into from El Paso a couple days ago.
Sure. Just your standard Coke.
And it's packaged nicely.
Yeah.
With our face on the front.
Yeah. And you get a complimentary
full-force
condom.
Right under our nose, there's something on the art. It'll just be like the same picture, but like under our nose and around our mouth, there's like that Coke slobber.
Well, we both have mustaches, so there'll just be Coke-filled mustaches.
Eyes are wide open. Yeah.
Yeah, we're wide open.
Yeah.
Eyes wide open.
Yeah. Eyes
fully
wide,
aware.
Eyes wide open cocaine.
And T-Bag will be out.
Full force cocaine, maybe.
I like that. I like that route. Yeah. You'll be out raking your yard vigorously.
Yeah.
At 2 a.m.
Yep. And then going into hit the tables, as they say, late night.
Yeah. Full tilt.
I'm looking forward. I might get a game later tonight after the show. Now that I'm kind of back, this Old Milwaukee is really as you can see, I'm back on a health kick here. But this is
I'm joining you.
Tasting pretty good.
I'm
tasting
joining
very
you.
good.
So let's talk about the Old Milwaukee.
Well, these were brought as a gift.
They were, and we have some guests in studio.
We do have 2 guests today.
We have Beef, who people have met before on the airwaves.
Graciously filled in as a kind of a co-host up at the deer camp.
That's right. Yeah.
And I got to say, he was quite entertaining. I enjoyed it.
He can be.
The man's got a future here, on the show, I'm sure.
He has the gift of gab.
And who else do we have here?
He brought a friend of his called the MATHLETE.
We've been talking about talking to her for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is a legitimate person. This isn't,
She is.
like one of my kids or somebody that we may have known in the past.
No.
This is a legitimate citizen of Minnesota, of the United States of America.
Yep.
And I would say, someone who's normal.
I would agree. I've spent some time with her during the pre-show sort of warm up sort of session.
But she brought us tribute.
She was very normal to me, unlike us.
Yeah. No, we are abnormal.
Much unlike us.
We suffer from ODD. We're odd.
Right.
And she, the MATHLETE, brought us a 30-pack of Old Milwaukee.
Of which we are very graciously drinking right now.
I have goosebumps right now. I'm not going to lie. I got goosebumps. So thank you. Thank you, MATHLETE.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, young lady.
And
appreciate it very much.
Also, from another state away, from the great state of Illinois.
Oh, interesting.
I have a cousin that would actually,
These are interesting. What do you have there? It looks like you have some type of a beer mug, and they look antique in nature.
They're antique. He got them at an antique place somewhere in northern Wisconsin.
They're antique Old Milwaukee beer mugs.
That's right. There's
Those
4
are
of them.
beautiful.
4
Those
of
are
them.
quite beautiful. We're gonna have to maybe leave one of those here at the studio.
No, those are for the studio.
Oh, amen, amen. Thank
So-
you to your cousin who sent those.
Yeah, he's a character. He would, if we had a third mic and put him in here, he would just right in the seam.
No problem.
No
huh?
problem.
We'll have to keep that in mind someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Thank you for the glasses, Tommy B, and thank you for the beer to the Mathlete, as well as beef. Maybe he'll bring us some other goodies in a little bit here. Maybe some McNuggets or something.
Well, he's
like
out
that.
running a couple
Yeah.
errands because we don't want you not eating today.
Yeah, you're right.
We're
Hey,
going to
Bub-
feed you.
Bubs, what can I say? It's the life of a rock and roll star, baby.
Well, it's the life of a single adult male, I
Yeah,
guess. You know,
I know.
and we've talked a little
I'm
bit about
I'm gonna
this.
turn the heat down at 47. That's my goal at 47.
Okay, and what are you now?
I'll be 45 in like 3 months.
Okay, all right, 45. So you're going to give yourself another hard 2 years.
I wouldn't say hard. I mean, I'm going to be responsible. You know, the answer no isn't often in my vocabulary.
Well, I mean, you're in a social environment.
It's occasionally no.
Yeah.
I will say this though: excessive booze does slow you down.
I agree.
It sort of inhibits production. I guess I would say.
Well, it inhibited you editing,
It did. It took a couple days off it, and that was a shame.
and we're a DIY type group. We don't have producers. We don't have
No one.
editors.
No,
it's
no
us.
one.
You
Well, I
also sent me
recently-
a text that it was your opus.
The Barry Lyndon Show.
Yes, that just dropped.
Yeah, not too long ago. Yeah, and let's just say this: you were right. I've had a little bit of feedback about the show.
Was I right?
I think everybody, appreciated maybe a little bit about, hey, that's kind of interesting that they got, this. They're talking about a movie I've never heard of, and there's some interesting music at the beginning with a weird narrator that sounds like he's from England. But for the most part, nobody has any idea what that fucking movie is.
Well, there were some boobs in it.
Yeah.
For our true listeners
Right.
out there, they'll understand that that's an important factor for.
I got a
Bubs.
text from number one Gary, and it was just a picture with Barack Obama nude. It was a photoshopped, and then he said, "This episode fucking sucks." I thought it was video games.
Well, not everyone's a home run, right?
He knows exactly. He's a good critic, and
Yeah. You're up there still at the plate taking pitches. You're just hitting foul ball.
we're gonna get. We got a few more episodes here in the hopper because we are going to be taking a little bit of time off. We're certainly going to continue. We just are trying to sort of backlog episodes right now and things like that.
Well, I've got that
Keep things
mandatory time that I have to do,
That's true.
so we're taking a little break.
Looking forward to a lot more great shows with you and a lot more old Milwaukee's. And maybe I'll turn the volume down just a hair,
Okay,
because Jägermeister is obviously off the table now for a while,
you think so?
at least in mass quantities.
So now I got to return your Christmas gift.
No, absolutely not. I'll take that.
All right.
I will absolutely take that. It's not off the table. It's just off the table drinking it all the time.
Yeah, when you said that, I kind of, and when I sat with you and you had several,
Yeah.
I kind of looked at it like,
This cannot end well.
well, I have a little more experience than you in this field.
Maybe.
I do. And, I've seen things that come and go and people that do this stuff, and I've been there. And,
With Jägermeister.
oh, yeah. Or Ruppelmans or tequila or whatever you want to call it. But I think you take a vodka, you take a gin, you take a whiskey, whatever you prefer, and you drink those in a cocktail that's proven, or you just have it on ice, maybe with tonic or water or whatever. You can survive that. And you've done that for quite a while with whiskey.
Yeah. The problem is it was giving me heartburn
It's
like crazy.
It's your diet.
My diet mostly consists of whiskey.
Okay, I got you. Yeah. Well, then take a break.
And
Just
maybe,
move to beer.
what do you call it? Sausage McMuffin occasionally, something like that.
Some nuggets.
Man, those nuggets aren't bad.
How many meals a week are you preparing for yourself?
At my house,
Yes.
3.
Okay. Is it a dinner, breakfast? What are you doing?
Kind of a medium in the middle of the day thing where it's just like, okay, this will, keep me going pretty much, and maybe a snack at night type
Okay.
thing.
All right. So are you grilling or are you?
Lately, I've been kind of into doing beans and rice with chicken, but it's not every day. And then I'll sometimes steam some broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do those, and then sometimes I'll do like a pasta type dish or something like that. Occasionally,
Yeah. You got to rotate
I'm doing
more meals in.
But listen, I mean, there's plenty of frozen pizzas getting thrown in here still. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, just to recap, yeah, Jägermeister's probably going to be used with kid gloves from this point on. But the good news is high score number one on the rush table at the local one here in town. So
is it still standing?
I think it is. 2 days ago it was. I mean, I don't think it, I've seen some people playing it there, but they're hosers.
Posers and posers?
Yep.
All right.
And there is one score above me that's called Grand Champion.
Oh,
but I think it was honestly put there by the machine. I don't think anybody got 300 million on their own.
Unattainable.
I got 100 and I think it was 92 mil.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Which I haven't really checked it against scores of people that play online, but I'm pretty impressed with it.
All I can think of is the Who.
You'll see
constantly.
You'll see the initials
the movie Tommy.
TBG.
Yeah.
On the rush machine.
Nice. God bless you.
Stands for teabag.
Did you teabag it so hard it tilted?
Yeah, I have some moves.
Yeah.
that I do.
Use a hip thrust?
Occasionally,
Yeah.
I will occasionally nudge the table, but not too often.
Were you ever on your toes?
Yes, I do a wide stance, as they say, though, kind of like the famous senator from Wyoming, I believe.
With Senator Craig?
Yeah, in the Minneapolis. I do have a bit of a wide stance.
Okay. Forceful wide stance with
Right.
a slight tilt.
I like to have a firm base, a firm footing.
Man, this sounds like some kind of gay porn website.
No, it's pinball, Bubs. It's
Okay.
not gay porn at
No,
all.
I'm just saying a wide stance.
It's a pinball
base,
machine.
Aggressive on your toes.
Stop turning it into something homosexual. It happens every single show.
Gayness?
We have a bit of an obsession with it. I don't know what it is.
A fear, probably.
I mean, I've got obsessions all over the place.
Your obsessions really start to show themselves. An episode a while back where we did Barry Lyndon.
Yep.
Another episode where we did JFK, the movie. You take it. You reach in elbow deep.
I'm still. Yeah, it happens to me with certain things. Not everything. Certain things.
But Barry Lyndon is like your favorite movie.
It is kind of right now. Yeah. I'm very impressed by it. I still don't know how something like that was made.
It's kind of like songs. I mean, you can have your favorite album or songs, but 5 years from now it changes. It might drop down or something. But
like 5 or 6 years ago, I kind of got, I guess, not introduced, but I really started to appreciate the Beatles.
Yeah, and you're a Beatles guy.
Yeah. Before that, I was kind of just indifferent.
Mm-hmm.
But I got into them really hardcore about 5 or 6 years ago.
That's good. Good for you.
The thing about the Beatles is a lot of people forget that, they were together less than 10 years. You know what I mean? They just have a very large body of work.
Well, the body of work is incredible.
But their span wasn't all that long.
No.
By the time they broke up, they were still in their 20s.
Yeah, and a lot of the stuff they did, I don't know, like I said earlier, it's probably a fall in the camp of George Harrison more than any other ones.
For you, Harrison is like the best Beatle or something?
No, I don't have a best Beatle, but he was the one that seemed to, when he went and he was doing his solo stuff or jumping in with other people,
yeah,
that resonated more with me than
gotcha
what Ringo was doing or
John
Lennon. He was too much.
A little, yeah.
And then Paul McCartney, I thought Wings sucked.
Yeah, I'm not, I guess I really never listened to much of any of their solo stuff after. There's a couple things that they got that's okay.
Oh.
Each of them, But Harrison is probably the one who, I mean, some people think that his stuff was maybe a little more
played
special.
Some music and sang and teamed up with some pretty good players. You know what I was listening to today? I was working on a project at home.
What?
Wanted, the Outlaws. You country at all? You do country?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, so that's Waylon, Willie.
Okay.
Josie Coulter, I think her name is, and then Tom Glasser. And Jesse Coulter may have married Waylon Jennings. And so there's like a mid-70s.
How long ago? Okay, 70s era.
So it's real country music.
Yeah.
And it's those guys kind
getting
of
drunk and
thumbing their nose at Nashville.
Good for them.
But there's some great songs on there.
Yeah, I believe you.
That's, I think, my favorite song. It'll be played at my funeral. My heroes have always been cowboys.
Okay.
Yeah, sung by Waylon Jennings.
I think I've heard that song.
Yeah.
In fact, I know I've heard that song. People play it at bars sometimes.
They cry and
they get
sing.
very emotional about it. Yeah. For me, it's David Allan Coe of that era.
Yeah, well,
He's got some real bangers.
That's no joke. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, he had some songs, talking about.
Oh, boy, did he ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Songs that you can find them on YouTube, but I'm surprised you can
Wasn't
find
it
them on YouTube.
the one's the greatest country song ever, right? The one.
Yeah, that one's
they
very,
play on the radio.
Yep, they'll play that.
They'll play that one on the
That's
radio.
You Never Called Me by My Name.
Yeah, that's the name of it. Yeah,
that one's okay, and a great song.
Mm-hmm. If that ain't country,
but that one, they can be a little bit. Some would call maybe obscene. I guess
vulgar
or something like that.
Yeah, he'll push the envelope.
For me, they speak right to me, though, buddy. You know me.
It resonates. Well, I like a Waylon and a Willie and the rest of the gang. Johnny Cash, big fan.
One of my favorites of all time is Whiskey River.
Yeah,
Willie Nelson.
Sure,
great song.
It's a tough river to be on.
Yeah,
you were on Jaeger River.
Well, hey.
I was over there.
It didn't last long. I think
you were over on Jägermeister Bay, and then those tides
shows.
came in.
I think 2 or 3 shows ago, I was singing the praises of it. And now here I am saying enough of that.
No, back to the whiskey.
Enough is enough.
Have a beer.
Maybe just a beer.
Have a beer. Yeah, it's okay.
Maybe just a beer.
Shit.
That's where I'm at now, Bubs.
What about your boy Kelsey?
My boy Kelsey.
Yeah, isn't he your boy?
I don't watch that shit anymore.
Huh?
I gave up on it a couple of years ago.
I see commercials with him, and he's promoting getting vaccinated and jabs, and he's got the special Band-Aid. And he's dating.
He made
Was he dating Linda Ronstadt? Who was
Taylor Swift.
Yeah, okay.
She's considered, probably the biggest whatever in the world right now, like celebrity. I would guess.
Well,
brings in more money than anything.
Yeah.
Considered a massive, huge score if you were a young guy. That's like number one with a bullet in terms of like piece of ass women that you could be walking around with.
Oprah would be a close second.
I got to say Taylor Swift is still probably number one, but you're entitled to your opinion on the show. You know that.
Mm-hmm.
We don't silence anyone.
Thank you for letting me have my
if
voice.
Oprah's your number one,
number
2, yeah, I think that's for you and that's between you and Jesus.
Amen.
For me, Taylor Swift isn't number one. I think she's certainly attractive, but that Kelsey guy, what's it like waking up as that guy?
I don't know. He must have sold his soul.
How old is he? He's got to be what, 30?
Maybe at the most.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so this guy wakes up and someone brings him, a breakfast that's prepared. He's got a 30,000 square foot house or something like that. Then he answers a couple texts from Taylor. She sends him a couple of nudes. That's how he starts his day. Then he probably goes, checks Twitter or something, or wherever he hangs out online, checks in, sends out a couple tweets. Those earn him right there walking around money for the day. Just the Insta posts and stuff like that probably net him $70K every time.
How do you think that guy had his ascension?
I think he made a pact with Satan himself.
I mean, the marketing and his commercials, he's everywhere. He's in every commercial for everything.
Yep. Then he cashes an NFL check. Then he cashes an endorsement check.
Mm-hmm.
By the end of the day, then he cashes the big check at the end of the day, which is the fucking Pfizer check.
Oh, yeah.
He's the poster boy for Pfizer. This guy will sell anything, including probably his own soul.
Yep.
He'll sell anything if it's popular.
Yep.
He'll be wearing an armband in a couple more years or something like whatever the armband is.
He'll be the spokesman.
Rainbow, he'll be
Capital City.
He'll be the guy who talks about fitness or something like that. And
fitness. Your paperwork's not in order. Get on the train.
That's what he does. At the end of the day, he comes home to Taylor Swift.
Maybe. I think it's arranged.
I bet. Well, even if it's arranged, do you think it's fake for real?
I do. It seems so set up. Like, how did they meet? Where do they meet? Is it legitimate? How do they have a normal conversation? He seems at least he's an NFL football player, and God knows what he studied in college. But
from what I know, the guy was like sending out social media stuff a year ago, blindly out into the wind, saying, "Why won't Taylor return my DMs?" Or like stuff like that.
Okay. Well, so then somebody got a hold of marketing and went, "Hey, we can shoot her up to a whole group of people."
Why does Taylor Swift need Travis Kelce though? She doesn't.
No.
See,
the NFL needs her.
MATHLETE agrees with me.
NFL needs her.
The NFL, that's like...
The NFL needs her. They need a younger audience.
They want her.
Yeah, the people watching the NFL are my age.
Not anymore, brother. Not me.
No, but that's who's watching the NFL. That's who's invested after 50
It's not a
years
game
of
anymore.
NFL.
Dude, it's about to be WWE style.
It's a close.
It's very,
yeah.
it's almost
I
there.
agree. It's a scripted, weird thing. You watch people and how they act at these games and all this stuff. But my point is, somebody decided the NFL approached her, whatever.
You don't think they're fucking?
I don't think they're going to get married and have kids.
Yeah, maybe not. If they do get married, it would be for like, a year or two.
She's probably at that level of like Prince or fucking Howard Hughes and, okay, enter the sealed room now.
I want to see her with a guy like me, for instance.
Yeah, hanging out
in
in Princeton playing
like
pinball.
a troublemaker. Yeah, that would get her in trouble.
Sure.
Like
say
all kinds
something.
of trouble. Yeah.
Say something bad.
Well, that or like, oh, Taylor was in a car accident last night, or boyfriend was drunk, or like that type
T
of thing.
Bag. He's got a fucking 86 Camaro with plates that say T Bag.
Yeah, and every time there's a social media thing, there's 8,000 comments just, fuck that guy, what's he doing with her?
Yeah.
Fuck that old piece of shit.
Who was it? Who was that blonde chick that was all popular singing 20 years ago that had the derelict boyfriend or husband? Ashley Simpson, Jessica Simpson.
Well, her husband, I don't think was a derelict. He seemed like he was a nice guy.
Wasn't there some guy that was one of those women that they had like just this loser fucking trailer trash?
Oh, it was
husband?
Brittany. It was Brittany.
Britney Spears. Yeah, all right. Yeah, there we go.
He was like a guy who like just had kids with like all different women.
Yeah.
And he was like a dancer at one point or something.
Yeah,
and now like, I bet he's about to get taken off that child support teat any day now. Cause I bet her kids are probably close to 18.
Yeah. But he was a lower life.
If I saw that guy, I would shake his hand. I mean, I would really shake his hand, maybe ask for a photograph.
Yeah, well, hell yeah.
You know what that guy pulled off?
Myself
he knocks up Britney Spears and then just turns it into, well, I'm good for the next 20 years.
It's like the David Chappelle bit where he knocks up Oprah. Bye, Stedman.
I would.
Yeah. Well, that's a clone that's out there now. It's not really her anymore.
You don't think that's Oprah?
No. You look at Oprah from 1985 and look at Oprah now. How?
It's all these weird surgeries they have now that rich people can afford that
Chemicals.
shit. Listen, I don't mean to bring it back to Barry Lyndon again, but I'm going to briefly.
Okay, here we go. Let the obsession continue.
Think of the stuff in Barry Lyndon where those people, the high society types, are playing cards and they're all wearing makeup.
Makeup, wigs. They have
and those little marks.
hearts.
They put those marks on their face.
They look like they're from card decks.
Yeah.
Decks of cards.
They really do.
Yeah.
At that time, that was considered, probably the top of the line in cosmetics.
Yep.
And now it's more, hey, we can do these things to your body. Do you have the money for it? Come up here. I'll give you bigger lips. I'll make your jaw look better with this. I'll do this. Oh,
Come to this island.
20 years ago.
We'll make sacrifices.
Yeah.
Don't mind the blue and white temple. Stay out of there. Or come on in.
I heard they're going to release part of that guy's list.
Let's hear it all.
I agree, but I think the list is going to be this big sort of...
It'll be a non-factor.
Right, and it's purposely going to be a non-factor because they're going to release a bullshit list.
Yeah, fake list. Do you remember Heidi Fleiss?
The Hollywood Madam.
Yeah. She was
like the top hooker in Hollywood.
I was at a hotel in L.A. back in the mid-'90s or something, and she was at a hotel next to it selling... You could stand with her, get a photograph. They'd print it off right there and autograph it. It was like $20. And I had something else going on and I was going to go over there, but it was already done and over with. And I was like, damn, I just missed it. Cause I had like a dozen people I would have gotten photos.
That would have been a cool one.
Yeah.
The guy's name was Kevin Federline. That was the guy's name.
Yeah. Yeah. For Brittany.
Yeah. Yeah. That was her husband.
Right. Yep.
And I think he had 2 kids with her and then fucked off. And I can't remember what it is, but I think the dude pulls in like $70K a month or something.
Good for him.
That. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a really good bass fisherman or something.
And he probably spends like minimal time with the kids.
Yeah. What kids?
Right.
Or maybe he's cooking them mac and cheese.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
He might be salt of the earth.
Maybe. I guess I haven't really read too much on the gossip of K-Fed.
It's been
as we call it.
Number of years.
Those things are all kind of in the past. The early 2000s, that was kind of a little bit of my era for the early 20s.
You weren't paying
people
attention.
Like that were very popular.
Yeah, but you weren't paying attention.
Not a great deal. But you look at Britney Spears now, and I guess I don't really follow her, so to speak, but I've seen a few things on social media in the last 6 months where I realize now that there was a reason she was under some type of court-ordered thing to like
shaved her head and
not,
she had issues.
Yeah,
Well, imagine her life. Wasn't she a Disney kid or something?
Yeah. Oh, there's been some really
Rituals.
terrible things that have happened to her. I'm sure.
I can't imagine that those kids come out of that unscathed.
No.
With all the freaks that are out there.
But that's kind of where she's at now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, she's not really, I don't know. I don't pay attention to a lot of pop culture stuff anymore. A little tiny bit, but not much.
Well, you see some blurb or something.
I'm too worried about, cash for clunkers and shit like that.
Yeah, you are. Well, that's over.
Yeah, well.
I was thinking about that today, cash for clunkers, and I was thinking, man, they just made it hard for...
Yeah, they did.
We didn't see somebody like Beef's age to get a car.
We didn't see that coming back then, though, because we still trusted our government a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit more than now. Now I wouldn't.
After the Patriot Act,
if Obama told me to go out and buy a large fry at McDonald's, at that point, I think I swear off.
Well, didn't the Obamas are executive producers for some show on Netflix?
Yeah, and you watch it and you pay for it. Congratulations.
I didn't watch it.
Well, you watch Netflix.
Yeah, but I didn't watch it.
You didn't watch the show.
No.
You pay Netflix.
We started it, and then all of a sudden it said executive producers, Barack Hussein Obama and Big Mike, and I just fucking turn it off.
Did you cancel Netflix?
No,
not yet.
Not yet.
Thinking about it?
Yeah, we're getting close.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, man.
But, there's occasional shows.
I got a source. If I ever need to get in there, I got a source that can give me a free access. But Netflix is actually cracking down on it.
Yeah.
You have to you got to
can't
really
have one pass and 6 people watching.
Nope, not anymore.
No. Well,
I used to have every channel there was thanks to number one Gary, but even the Netflix one now is on tight lockdown. But I did get to watch the new South Park a few days ago.
I haven't seen that.
It's pretty good.
The topic?
They're talking about how this guy, Logan Paul and Jake Paul.
Yeah.
You know those guys?
One of them's an MMA guy.
Not really.
Oh.
No, he's like a boxer. YouTube? They're doing fixed boxing fight. Okay. I will say this. The guy's trying to do something, and it is entertaining, and it's drawing people in. So hats off to the young man, in my opinion.
Okay.
It doesn't resonate with me, but it's basically talking about how these guys are selling these shitty fucking sports drinks to these kids and then saying that it's not for kids. Hey, we're not marketing to children. It's like, yes, you are, dude. Come on. It's the same as the cigarette and cigar companies that are making, bubblegum flavored Black and Milds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They sell those.
Yeah.
They make those.
Well, they're illegal in Minnesota, right? You can't even get a menthol.
You can't get anything here in Minnesota without the approval of Tim Walz and his fat ass.
And all the other comrades.
Yeah.
Fuck them.
Comrading. Speaking of comrades, watched a movie recently about two buddies.
Two pals.
But let's go down that autofocus tunnel a little bit.
Well, that was a movie I suggested just because the fact that you and I are pals.
Set it up. What is this movie?
Well, you and I are pals, and we watched it when we worked together, and it became an inside joke, and we probably watched it, 17 years ago, and you've probably watched it since then, but I watched it last night. The movie Autofocus is about a man named Bob Crane. For me, Bob Crane is a famous person because he was in a TV show that ran for 6-7 years called Hogan's Heroes. Hogan's Heroes, Captain Hogan, right? I think it was Captain Hogan.
Yeah.
It was an American POW in a German camp. So
a prisoner of war camp.
It was a comedy show.
Not a concentration camp, but a prisoner, where they take
POWs.
POWs from war that they capture.
Yeah. So then there was a French POW. Richard Dawson played a British POW, and then there was other side characters. And then, of course, the Nazis were portrayed as idiots. Colonel Klink and Sergeant Schultz. And it was iconic and very it was something we all watched. I grew up watching it.
Yeah.
It was on reruns, but I watched every episode probably 5 times over because it was just on.
It was always on in the 80s and 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
Hogan's Heroes.
Hogan's Heroes. And then Bob Crane, the actor, apparently had a private life.
Yes, I would say so.
And he, the story is he was a swinger. He was into sex. He was probably a sex addict. He couldn't get enough of the ladies. And then he fell in with a guy that, well, you know, he probably didn't start out that way, but then he kind of, the movie shows his descent. And then he gets in with a guy named John Carpenter, who's a, you know, audio visual tech geek that's way ahead. He's working for Sony or working for some company, and he's getting all this stuff advanced. And it's correlating. These two guys kind of hit on each other, not in a gay way, but just they must have had that vibe where they liked women.
I think
and they like swinging.
Yeah, I think at first they were probably both just deviants a little bit.
Yeah,
you know,
pervs.
with their sex life.
Yeah, so Bob Crane, you know, they show him, he's playing drums in strip joints because he's a drummer. He likes to play drums.
He was really talented, actually, at the drums.
And he was a DJ, I guess, before he was an actor, and he was a DJ for like 14 years. So he's not, you know, afraid of the mic or hamming it up or anything, and didn't drink, didn't smoke, didn't use drugs, but he was a freak. The movie set starts away like right away in like the early 60s. He's a DJ, kind of funny, plays drums and does little bits, and he's on some AM station or whatever, and he's popular. And I think was he in the Connecticut area, then he was out in LA, and then he starts
he was like the big DJ in Los Angeles, I believe.
Yeah,
like he was a known guy, but not known in television.
He was on a couple other TV shows in the late 50s and 60s.
Donna Reed, he was the dentist or something, I think, on there. And so he's seen, and then they come up, he tries out for this part, the lead hero of Hogan's Heroes, and gets the part. But then, you know, in the movie, it stars Greg Kinnear and William Dafoe. Greg Kinnear plays Bob Crane, and William Dafoe plays John Carpenter. And then there's some other, whatever, actors that you'd recognize in there. But Bob Crane he's got 3 kids. He's got the wife with the pearl necklace who's doing dishes. Yeah.
They live in suburban LA somewhere. He's doing tryouts, getting jobs. And then he lands Hogan's Heroes. But then at one point in the movie, like right away, the wife confronts him about a stash. He's got a stash of nudie mags.
She found it. She found what today would be known as the hidden folder in your phone.
Well, but back in the day, everybody had a stash.
Sure.
You know, stack of nudie mags in the attic or the basement or out in the garage. And maybe, you know, I guess in my era, somebody had a video.
Maybe.
VHS or something. But back then, he had obscene materials. And then it shows them in church, and they're Catholic. And, you know, so she confronts him about it. And he's like, oh, yeah, well, I didn't really think anything of it. They're just pictures.
Photography studies.
Yeah, I like photography. I mean, look at the imagery. And
he says, I'm a photo nut.
Yeah, I'm a photo nut. And he hams it up and kind of wins her over, and she just ignores it. And she does make a comment, well, maybe we should talk to our priest. Oh, no, we'll take care of this in our own home.
Yeah. But he does kind of confess, like...
Well, there's a scene where he does talk to the priest, but then even the priest is creeped out by him.
Yeah.
And he's working at Hogan's Heroes, and he's on set. And then he just kind of meets Carpenter, and Carpenter invites him to a strip joint. You can kind of see he's interested, but he's trying to do the right thing. And he goes to the strip joint, and he's kind of reluctant. Richard Dawson is there, and whatever. And then the one guy, the drummer,
plays the drums
the drummer says, "Hey, you're Hogan's Heroes. You want to get in on these drums?" And so he gets in on the drums, and now he's playing drums. So they had live music behind the strippers back then. And he's just digging it.
Yeah,
you can see him just digging it. And
that's all it took.
That was it. And then he starts meeting women, and then Carpy starts lining it up at his place where women are going to come over, and Bob Crane is there. And then finally he ends up betting a woman other than his wife. And
then the videos and the photos and stuff start. Yeah. They both had a real thing with that, with
documenting.
Yeah.
Documenting the orgies, documenting the sex, and documenting the chicks. And then Bob Crane loved photography and would take photos of all these women. And then he had scrapbooks, and apparently he was a boob guy.
Yep.
And then you can see in the movie where he can't keep it together, and he meets a woman that's more open who played Hilda on Hogan's Heroes. And they get married. He divorces his first wife, and then, blah, blah, blah. But eventually the lifestyle, and he loses, his work and all this stuff, and he can't get jobs, and he's doing dinner theater. And at some point in the movie, probably in that kind of mid to late 70s, the movie takes a turn.
It really does at the sort of last third of that movie.
Yeah, so it's not the fun and games and the quirkiness.
It's real dark.
And he's really struggling, and He can't keep it together, but he's not drunk. He's not using drugs. He's just he's kind of, I would imagine he got blackballed. You know?
I think so.
Yeah,
that must have been what
blacklisted.
happened.
Yeah.
I think word got out that guy's just doing too much weird shit.
Yeah, he was a perv.
You know, and back then Hollywood still probably had some type of, standards or code or something where maybe standards isn't the right word. Yeah.
You had to maintain an image
Sure.
to sell to the public because
Right.
they still had, R rating was an R rating and it was enforced.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's very different than now where
he in
you
this
walk
movie,
around with a dick in your
Yeah.
ass right now and get, an Oscar for it.
Sure, great,
Yeah, that's so brave.
Stunning and brave.
Fucking stunning on top of
very
it.
brave the way he took
Back
that
then, though,
piece.
you would lose
your livelihood, would
your
be gone.
financial life would be history.
A sex, people maybe could survive one sex scandal, but he had hundreds of them. So he was
Yeah.
betting hundreds of women, hundreds and hundreds, I guess.
It sounds like, too, that, I mean, there was one moment in the movie where his agent is like, is it true you showed some of those pictures to Donna Reed? Like he, was really taking some risks there with.
So he
I mean,
must have
that would
suffered
be
from
weird
something.
now.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yes.
mean? Imagine what that was like then.
Yeah. And he suffered probably from whatever he had, some sex addiction or some, who knows, whatever it was. But, I mean, he was tormented by it. He kept trying to, you can see in the movie, he's like, well, this is normal. Everybody likes sex.
Yeah.
But
Well,
he liked
not
it
like
to
that, buddy. Yeah.
He liked it at 100 miles an hour all the time. He couldn't stop.
I think eventually the guy realized once he's kind of in his, I would guess maybe early 50s, something like that at that point, because I believe he was born in the 20s. I think he died in 78.
Mm-hmm.
I think the guy started to realize, okay, this has got to stop. I got to try and, do something here.
Yeah, he wanted
And
to
I
save
got to
his
repair
career.
something here.
Yeah.
And he finally told Carpenter off. And that's kind of where they end. I don't know if there's any evidence that conversation happened.
Yeah.
I don't know who he would have communicated that to. Maybe there was some way that the police figured out that he spoke to Carpenter really, really late that night or something like that. Maybe Carpenter said, because I think he did talk to the police a little bit. And maybe gave him like, yeah, Bob was talking about going back home and, leaving or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had nothing to do with killing him, though, or something like that.
Well,
But
anyway, at the end, like you said, the last third of the movie, the music changes, the way it's even filmed changes.
it's
all
tough.
dark.
It's kind of weird.
It's almost two different movies, and then all of a sudden, boom,
Yep.
he's bludgeoned to death while he's sleeping.
Yeah.
So,
The movie is not perfect by any means, in my opinion.
but for somebody like me that watched Hogan's Heroes, you're just like, what?
It's great.
Fuck.
For me, the best character in the movie was Defoe,
Well,
by far.
yeah, he had a good watch.
Yeah, Carpy. He,
What time is it?
I recommend anyone listening to check this movie out. It actually is really good. And this movie, even though it's 20 years old now, 21 years old,
Yeah,
which
so
is
Greg
crazy.
Kinnear probably was just starting. He was on cable.
He
right?
was, he had done some hosting and stuff like that
Yeah.
of some shows. But I believe that year or the year before, he was nominated for some sort of an Oscar for a movie with Jack Nicholson.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So he had become kind of this, hey, this guy's good. Yeah. And I like Kinnear. I think he is good. He's great in that role as Bob Crane.
Yeah.
But I think Defoe is, he chews up to me every scene he's in. You know what I mean? There's some great scenes in that movie where, he's got the best lines. He's always calling, hey, Big Daddy, like.
Well, he plays the ultimate creep.
He's very good at
Yeah,
it. There's something about Defoe's face that
Just his face, and then how he's wearing like those trousers and the 70s style clothes and late 60s, and he's just walking around like a creep.
He really is.
Yeah. And he and maybe he had some bisexual leanings, and
I think he did.
Was in love with or wanted Bob to himself.
I think by the end of the movie, that's what happened.
Yeah. It's a
combination of
things.
It's
a love story.
Well, I think he didn't want to lose Bob. He was going to, even if he wasn't, hooking up with him. Even though, you got to remember, these guys had orgied together on numerous occasions, so they had probably been very close physically, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
But Bob claims, there's a scene in the movie where Bob Crane is, adamant that he's not gay, and how dare Carpenter, put his hand near him and things like that. And you know, he made fun of Carpenter a little bit and called him, he sort of brought his sexuality into question. That might have had something to do with it. But I don't know. At the end of the day, it's really hard to tell what's real and what's fake because you don't know a ton about the backstory. And because the police, it sounds like even by late 70s standards, really bungled the investigation from an early.
Sure.
Do you know that like they found the body and one of the detectives right there on the bed just took out a razor and shaved part of his hair away so they could get a closer look at the wound? And I'm like, that seems really odd to me. I don't have much of a background with that type of stuff, but
Arizona, where he got killed,
yeah, maybe it was the Wild West back then. It was. Still,
I would have to say he wasn't in Phoenix. He was outside in Scottsdale, and Scottsdale in the 70s was probably,
nothing.
Yeah,
the weeds.
Yeah, up the hill a little bit.
Yeah, I suppose they probably didn't have many murders there or something. Yeah. And well, either way, a lot of people think that there were some mistakes made with the investigative type of procedural stuff, and that contributed heavily to the fact that Carpenter was never convicted. He was eventually brought to trial.
Yeah, it was like in the 80s, right?
It was like 93.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was later.
So some attorney wanted to get some notoriety.
I think so, yeah. And they tried to, there was maybe like, we've discovered some new evidence type thing or something like that. But
anyway,
some stuff got lost, apparently.
It is a position when you watch Hogan's Heroes. Maybe people should go out, watch a couple episodes of Hogan's Heroes, because there's some funny scenes in the shows, right? The premise is always the same, and then you watch this movie and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, what is it? What's going on?
So then you look around right now in society, what the fuck's really going on? Now with the internet and other things and high speed, sometimes that we get a glimpse more than just an article about somebody getting busted with some
very
photos.
Much. Yeah, right? You see right into everything. There's no more. Privacy is a 4-letter word in 2023, brother. Yeah. And has been for a few years, and it's a shame.
I think this was just a selfish choice on my part for a movie, just because it's you and I.
Hats off to you for doing it.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, I remember you talking about. I remember right around the time I met you, probably like it wasn't 20 years ago, but it was close. But talking about that movie one time, it somehow came up in a room, and it was like, hey, this guy saw that movie too. That was a fucked up movie,
Hey, Big Daddy.
Hey, yeah, and I was like, this guy might be, cut from the same cloth here.
Oh, we could party together.
Yeah, let's go swinging. Yeah. I like the movie a lot. It's not without its flaws. I do think the second half has some issues with tone in terms of what the movie kind of felt like.
Yeah.
And I think they leaned a little hard on the we're going dark thing here in the second half.
Maybe his life really did turn dark and he was lonely.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
It starts off very kind of uplifting.
It's good soundtrack.
Yeah, great soundtrack.
Good soundtrack.
Great soundtrack and good acting and underrated and not too well known.
Yeah, so it's just a little quirky movie to watch.
Give it a chance. I give
it
there's
my standard.
There's some nudity.
Yeah,
I think there's some male nudity in there too, though, even a little bit.
Well, all right. We got to have something for the ladies.
It's good for you.
Yeah, full frontal male nudity. That's always something I check on the box.
All right, welcome back, everyone who's listening. Welcome back. We're sitting here right now with an actual real-life woman in the Ponderosa studios. Not only that, she's incredibly smart. We've referenced her before, known as the Mathlete, also known as Haha, we call her. And she is a soon-to-be graduated student in the university and college system who majors in mathematics. Do you intend to continue on in that field and get more schooling, or is it something you're just going to go to school for 4 years for?
I mean, I was thinking about it.
Welcome, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you. And thank you for the beer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I was definitely thinking about doing my master's program in data analytics, but there's some other things that I'm going to have to do for a future job, so I think I'm going to have to postpone some further education. But
really?
Yeah.
Okay. What drew you to math? I mean, for me, it's something I'm so terrible at. Really? I mean, in fourth grade, I realized I was starting to hit a wall all of a sudden with, like when algebra started getting brought in. I think I had a little bit of a learning issue, but
might have,
you know. And back then, they didn't know what the hell that shit was. They told guys like me they were going to be ditch diggers. So were you into it from a young age?
Yes. Yep. In elementary school, I remember we had to take this math placement exam, and I didn't pass it the first time to go into an advanced level, and so my teacher made me redo it because he knew I could. I got advanced into 7th grade, and I was a year ahead, and I realized that I was good at it. And then by the time high school hit and we were trying to figure out, what am I going to major in, I realized that was the only thing that I actually enjoyed. That was the only class that...
Math.
Yep. So that's kind of what told me that's what I need to do. Not many people like math, so I feel like that tells you something if you do. So
I mean, you and maybe one other girl in school and then the 6 Korean guys who were in school, probably. But so I got to ask you, there's a movie I saw a long time ago.
6 Korean guys.
Yeah. Of course, it's always the Korean guys, isn't it?
6 Korean guys.
Well, those
Just go with Asian?
they're good math. They're good at math.
All right, whatever.
Let me ask you this real quick. You mentioned something called data analytics.
yep.
What is that exactly? You're just looking at patterns, like, for businesses, or what is it?
Honestly, it can be in anything. I mean, you have in healthcare, you can look at all these different studies. I mean, I've seen jobs for heart disease and cardiovascular health. You can be a data analyst for that kind of stuff, business analyst, financial analyst, all these different things. And so depending on what field you want to go into, you could be a data analyst for any of those things.
For anything.
Yeah.
And they're in demand.
Yeah. It's a growing field. It's
Really?
huge right now. Yep.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They make good money. It's just growing a ton right now.
Yeah, hang on to this one, Beef, okay? You heard it here first. Pretty good salaries then for those people, I take it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And then since it's growing so much right now, I feel like if you get into it now, you're bound to grow.
Yeah,
'cause
right.
more
You're
people are gonna be coming into
you're
it.
getting in kind of early,
Yep, exactly.
which is huge.
Definitely.
Are you looking at stuff yet, or what's up?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely looked at different things, did a couple internships, and I accepted a full-time job offer somewhere, so that'll be cool.
Good for you.
Yeah, have
Congratulations.
that lined up. Thank you. Yeah,
Welcome to the workforce.
thanks. Not there
Yeah.
yet, but we're getting
Almost.
there.
Yeah.
Almost.
How much longer you got left? A while?
I
Like
just have
one
one more
semester?
semester of school. Yep, and that's where I'll finish up my computer science minor. Yep.
So are you pretty much right now, like, is there any roadblock in this last semester? I mean, it's a done deal basically, right? You're on the downhill slide now, right?
Yeah, basically. Yep.
Okay.
Yep, I'm just finishing up a couple gen eds and then might take a class where we're proving calculus.
There was a movie I saw when I was younger. It was really popular, like when I was probably getting done with high school or maybe a year out of high school. It's called Good Will Hunting. And it had Matt Damon and some other dudes from that era who were like popular. I think Ben Affleck was in it and shit. But
Robin Williams.
yeah, Robin Williams. I think he won the Oscar for it that year. Anyways, Matt Damon is this kid who's apparently like a math whiz, but also kind of a delinquent, where he's always getting into fights. He ends up working at, I believe, MIT as like a janitor. And one day he's walking, doing his janitorial stuff at night or whatever when there's no one in the school. And he walks past the math department and there's a big equation written out on this blackboard that nobody's ever solved or something like that. Well, dude solves it.
Of course, right?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how realistic it is, but I looked into stuff like this and I know nothing about this for the listening audience out there, but there's a list of unsolved math problems out there. There's a lot of them, actually. I didn't realize it. That some of them have been existed for a very long time, too. Like some might even be like 100 years or something like that. Do you guys ever mess around with stuff like that? Do people ever take cracks at that? Do you ever look at that? Or is that something that takes a team of people, and a lot of computer power or something? Or what's the deal?
I mean, at my level, at undergrad, we're not taking any stabs at that. We're kind of learning about theories that have already been proven and all that kind of stuff. But I would imagine once you get into like a master's or a doctoral program, that's probably something that you would look at and learn more about those things that haven't been solved. Because someone's got to solve them, right? I mean,
Sure.
At some point, hopefully.
Sure.
But I would imagine it would take a team of people,
Yeah.
of very smart people.
And they have prizes for some of these math problems too. I always found it very impressive that those problems existed and still exist. And not only that, there's money prizes for it. My question is, how does somebody write the problem out? Like, how do they figure that out? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, honestly, I ask myself these same questions because all these things that we're using in math class, I'm like, someone came up with this on their own or
Yeah.
with a group of people, and I just can't comprehend how these people did that.
The Pythagorean theorem, that probably comes from Greece. That's a squared plus b squared equals c squared, right?
Yes,
See,
very good.
I
Yep.
know that shit. Yeah. That's how you figure out the
Hypotenuse.
that's how you figure out the hypotenuse of a triangle, Bubs.
That's right. Hypotenuse.
Yeah. You know about that shit, huh?
Yeah, we got a couple people that are hypotenuse right now.
You just take it easy over there, Tiger, with the Old Milwaukees and the edibles. Well, I gotta say, good luck with the job. First of all,
Thank you.
That's what I really want to see you succeed at. I hope to hear a lot about it.
For sure.
Thanks so much for talking to me about math. Bubs is going to ask you a few questions too.
Yeah.
But thanks for coming in today and talking to us, and thanks for the Old Milwaukees.
Of course.
So, yeah, Bubs is now on the mic. The Mathlete and I are familiar. We've met before. When was the first time that you met me?
It was a while ago. It was a few years ago for sure.
T Bag talked about kind of, you were in grade school. You indicated that you liked math or you were gifted at it. You appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
What about it that you're drawn to? Is it the simplicity or is it the neatness of numbers? What is it?
I mean, I really like organization. And so I feel like when you're writing everything, and seeing it all come together at the end, kind of like balancing something almost.
Where is the most money in math besides counting cards?
I feel like probably data analytics, but also where computer science and math come together. There's so many jobs.
What would be another example of that?
I mean, there's a bunch of engineers.
Sure.
For whether it's in computer science or just, civil engineer, all those different kinds of things. And I think there's a lot of money in those fields for sure.
And then with an engineering degree, is there a lot of math? I mean, are they going up to these theoretical levels?
I don't know about the theoretical levels, but for sure the Calc 3, probably doing differential equations and linear algebra, those types of things. I know in my differential equations class, we were looking at the salinity of tanks and having water flow into one, and then an exchange of water between two tanks, and then also a flow out of the other tank, and calculating the salinity of the tanks using differential equations.
Well, that's real life stuff.
And that's real life stuff, and that's probably
you don't want to kill your fish.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
But I would imagine they have to know that at you go to some giant water park. What am I thinking of, like SeaWorld or something, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Where they have to move water and keep these fish and animals and mammals alive, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's another thing that I like about math is that you can find math everywhere. Whether you think about it or not, it's in everything you do every day.
And so why data analytics? What's that little niche that draws you to that?
You can kind of look into all these different things and interpret how things are working. How can you improve something, especially just with the way technology is going? I feel like that's why data analytics is so big right now. And then I don't really want to be a math teacher. And with technology growing, I think those types of jobs are just what math people are going into right now.
So do you ever see yourself in the future, not in the next year or two, but continuing on, maybe on your own, looking at math theory? You know what I mean? Like, is that an interest for you?
Honestly, I haven't always been into the theoretical stuff. So
okay.
I don't know what I would do to keep learning math unless I did a master's program. I guess the only hobbies that I have that are thinking are puzzles.
Yeah, puzzles.
Puzzles, yeah. Keeping it sharp.
So doing like regular puzzles, like a 1,000-piece puzzle, you just like the patterns and the neatness of it.
Yeah, or even, number puzzles. I don't know if you've ever heard of Ken-Kens. Those are always
No,
fun.
I don't know what that is. What
it's
is
like
that?
Sudoku with mathematical operations mixed in with it. It's really fun.
Oh, yeah. Sounds like fun.
There's apps for it. I'll show you.
Is there?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I made it to calculus. What about organizations now in college? You're part of one for math?
Yep.
Are you?
Yes,
and
I
what
am.
What does that do? What do you do in that organization? So it's extracurricular?
Yep. It's
Is it like a team?
it's a club.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're in a math club.
Yes.
And then how long have you been in that?
3 years now.
Okay. So you're in a math club, and what does the club do, and how often do they meet, and when do they drink?
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Drink.
Do they have choir practice?
I mean, we have some out of office hours
Sure.
for drinking
Yeah.
and some
Math socials?
Yep. The math club does not fund those operations though or
Okay.
events. Other than that, at meetings, it's probably once a month. We do some math puzzles, do some competitions with math. We had
Do you compete against other schools or other clubs?
no, just the people within the club. We kind of
Okay.
compete against them.
How many people are in this club?
Probably 30.
I know I've played cards with you,
Yep.
and not to mention that you cheat, but I do notice that you're a math person because I always ask you what the score is, and then you reply, your sum is. You let me know what the sum is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a math thing. That's got to be a math quirk.
That's a term in math, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes.
the sum.
Yes.
Yeah, right? The
Yep.
sum.
Yes, the sum.
Yeah, your sum is this. I have a better sum than you do. I think
do.
that's what you say.
My sum is greater than yours.
Ooh, not in some of the games we play, but yes, you're right.
Lately, I've been struggling in cards.
Your future right now holds data analytics. What do you
Kind
see
of,
that
yeah.
AI may take that over in a way?
Honestly,
Or are you still going to need that human element to forecast what's really going on?
that's what I think. I mean, who's gonna continue building on this AI?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like you need people in the mix. And I think that instead of a lot of jobs being taken over, I think it's going to be an accessory to people's jobs in a lot of different fields. If you look at ChatGPT, it's only as strong as you make it in that sense, at least. Like, if you're not putting in a lot of information, it doesn't have much to go off. You have to provide it a lot for it to give you a lot back. So.
Okay.
I got one more question.
All right. Go ahead.
Here's what I want to know.
Okay.
Right now, I'm hearing these things I see in Oregon where they're lowering education standards to the point where they're not even really going to give grades anymore because it's not equitable to all the students. So literally 2 + 2 is about to become 5
Ooh.
for some of these people. Long-term implications for that probably can't be good, huh? Do you ever see anything like that? Or probably not at the college level, I suppose, huh? Not even close, right?
No, not even close at the college level. And I mean, even in elementary school, when I was in elementary school, none of that passed at all. I mean, in math, you have a right answer. You can't just say 2 + 2 is 4 or 5. You know,
I feel like they're
4.
trying to they're almost getting there in some of these places. And boy, I wouldn't be surprised to see it in Minnesota. Seems like whenever Oregon does something, we're not far behind.
Yeah, I suppose.
And it's always out of Portland.
Yeah. But if you're going to go with that premise of 2 + 2 = 5, well, then the concrete's not going to work. The rebar, the building structures aren't going to work because the math is, these people are going to be inept and wonder why everything fails.
Yeah, no, I don't know how you can get anywhere if you think 2 + 2 is 5.
Yeah. How are you going to get into deciding the salinity of water and using equations to make that giant tank work?
Yeah, no, I can't even think of any. Once you're in college, if you truly think that, where are you going to go in life?
Well, they're going to have people in college that truly think that.
No,
That's what's going to be sad.
Yeah, I mean, I hear professors talking about different things on how they don't understand how these students are ready. And I've been in areas where I'm listening to some students not knowing really how to add all that well. And we're at a college level where you're about to go into the workforce. You're about to have an adult life and have an adult job, and they don't grasp adding. And, you know, that's kind of scary, especially when you have nurses going out into the workforce and we have math for healthcare classes like that. And these students are struggling with that. And those are the people that are going to be giving you IVs and medicine and converting units.
Yeah, going from metric to standard to get the dosage right.
Exactly. And if these students don't know the
Those
math,
people won't be giving me IVs.
well, yeah, I hope not.
There's a note in his pocket. He's unconscious, but it says, "Please take this math test."
Yep. Yeah, no, it's definitely concerning, though, that's for sure.
Well, you know what is neat is that you've got a bright future. You're, obviously somebody that's intelligent, never stopped thinking critically. I know during COVID, you thought critically and stood up for yourself in the workplace, didn't put up with any bullshit. And that's admirable for, a young lady only being about 18 years old at the time or 17 to stand up to that bullshit.
Yeah, hats off to you for that. Seriously.
Yeah, for real. Thank you.
And, I guess you just got to try to keep beef in line. So good luck with that.
That's a big job.
Yeah, it is. And it took brute force raising him. So,
yeah.
He understands getting choked out.
His neck is too thick.
Yeah, well, you got to just get around it. What neck? Yeah. His ears just touch his shoulders.
Just a big thumb.
Yeah, it's a big thumb. Big thumb head. But he can kill deer.
Yeah, no, for real.
He can kill deer.
You can eat edibles too.
Yeah.
No.
That'll be kicking in soon.
Oh, yeah.
Good night and adieu. But thank you for joining us. Do you have anything for us?
I don't think so. Just thank you for having me on. I had a great time.
And I know you're a long-time listener.
I am a long-time listener.
Yeah.
I listen to every episode. I
Good.
love it.
Spread the word.
I'm trying.
Spread the
It's
word.
a great podcast.
Put, that math club should be right under our thumb. Well, thank you. Haha. We
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Bubs.
coming in.
Thank you,
all
T
right.
Bag.
Thank you very much, ma'am. We appreciate it too. It's great to have another guest here on the show.
A
and keep
regular human
listening.
being.
And anytime you want to come back, you let us know. We'll talk about whatever you want.
I will. It's been great. Thank you.
No, it's nice to see that there are, people get down on the younger generation, but there's people that are actually out there.
I got to say, I really am inspired. I seriously am. I thought everybody under the age of 30 was retarded.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I sell pull tabs for a living, so take
Your exposure to
who knows? Yeah,
you can be limited. You have a select pool of people
Yeah.
that you get to expose to for that age group.
and my pool is, I'm no Alfred Einstein myself. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, but you can think analytically.
Once in a while,
I think the key for people that are their age, in their early 20s, late teens, and then they can carry it on, is to be able to think critically. The ignorant masses are easily manipulated.
yeah.
So it's good to have people that can think critically.
I don't know about you, Bubs, but I'm a man,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't compromise that.
Well, you live a life of leisure too.
Of course, I do.
Yeah. You're not going to give up.
I'm not going to compromise any of my values
No.
to you or anyone.
I don't know what your values exactly
Yeah.
are that we're talking about
Well,
right now.
I mean, I don't know. It probably just, like you said, making the right choices and thinking critically. And I think thinking critically right now is not a value for a lot of people.
No, they just they don't even want to react. They want to be spoon-fed.
Yeah.
And then what does TMZ tell me?
Dude, our phones fucked up so many people, I think.
Oh, I agree. I catch myself going down a rabbit hole where I'll watch videos or do some research or, hey, did that person get back to me? And a lot of times now I put my phone on a shelf or a counter
Yeah.
and I just leave it. And if I walk by it 2 hours later, maybe I will look at it.
Yeah.
Maybe I don't. That's some reasons why I don't get back to you right away. 'Cause
That's
I'm
okay. I don't
trying
mind.
to purposely just leave it out of my
Yeah, I
life.
realize that, I'm not a priority and that I've accepted it at this point.
Well, you're in the circle of trust.
Thank you, dear.
Yeah, you're in there. You're in there.
Yeah,
Kind of like Bob Crane.
that's right.
Well,
You would have been more of the Bob Crane type, whereas I think I would have been more of the Carpy.
I hope I would have been a Bob Crane type, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
For me, it's Carpy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
audio visual.
Yeah, the audio-visual genius guy who just had that one quirk that kept him out of general population.
yeah. Well, he got away with murder like OJ.
Oof. OJ. I bet, you know what? Dude's on my pool for next year.
Ooh.
And not because of natural causes, too.
Oh, somebody's
Yep.
going to take him out?
I don't, natural causes. Natural causes.
All right. You'll have a heart attack while golfing looking for the murderer?
He's got issues. He's probably got like some type of coronary artery disease or something like that. I heard that he's not, in the greatest health, maybe. I think he's up there. He's in my top 10, but not my number one. You got any hot picks for Deadpool 2024?
Well, I went with Ozzy. Remember I called that out.
Is that your number one as of right now?
Right now, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could start doing some research.
Yeah. Man, I don't know.
There's been a lot of young cats dying.
It's that fucking shot.
It's got to be. A lot of younger people dying. I don't know.
I hope it doesn't come for me, Bubs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope not. Because
I've had COVID like 4 times.
It'll be the Bubs show.
Yeah.
Just Bubs.
I'd listen to that.
Would you, from heaven?
Yeah, just I'd come into the studio, pop in occasionally.
Yeah.
I can't talk, but
Can't talk.
I'd sort of sit there and listen. Well, great show today, buddy. So many gifts, It's great to have an audience today too.
It is fun. I feel like I can perform better with an audience.
Yeah, a little bit. Might have to try this again.
Kind of like Bob Crane.
Right?
He did well with an
Bit of an
audience.
exhibitionist.
He was.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks again for listening today. Thanks to Beef. Thanks to the Mathlete for stopping by. Thanks for the great gifts. We'll talk to you guys again soon. Take care.
Bubs is out.